because everyone is here. So we're going to talk, and Brenda and I are here with you today to talk about culture, how important culture is. It's been a very big piece of our company for many, many years. So talking about what is culture, how we impact culture, and how we can improve culture. So that's kind of where we want to go today. So who wants to actually tell me what culture is? Anybody have a definition of what culture is?
I would imagine it's something like diversity and people from different areas.
Somewhat, that plays a part of it. So textbook in what is culture is shared values, belief systems, attitudes, and assumptions that people have in the workplace. So that is kind of a broad brush. I kind of liked something that I got from LinkedIn, so I'm sharing it with you. Company culture is like the personality of a company. It's how people feel and act when they're working together, when they're working there. So that tells us what type of an impact that culture has. And we have to be aware of it ourselves. What's important to us? Do we have clear expectations of the core concepts of the company? And then as managers moving forward, we have to think about our employees and how we make an effect on the culture itself and on the employees, because it definitely has a direct impact on the business. So, so what I want to do is there's a little activity here, and I'm going to give you a moment just to kind of look at it now. It's kind of on more of a business side. So when you see C-suite and you see everything, think about this in terms of your restaurant and think about it as your managers and so forth. I know there's a lot of different things there. Kind of see where it goes for you, where you start up in the left-hand corner and then go through it and kind of see where you come out. Just take a couple minutes, take a look at that. Hi, Ty, we're just doing a little exercise. Just kind of going from the top left corner and kind of working through here, see where you end up. Mandy, do you have any time to go through this? What do you think, your culture? Which one of these would apply to your culture?
Did you say Mandy?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. One of my employees was talking to me.
That's okay.
So I would say, so starting at the top, I would say our work environment is fun. Turnover is small here.
Okay.
Yes, yes. I would say that we're the creative culture.
Okay. I'd say that's pretty good. So let me take somebody else. Ellie. Working through this, what kind of culture do you think that you have in your location?
I want to say our turnover is like in between of yes and no, because we've been kind of replacing some
Okay.
employees that we hired and then we had to get new ones.
We're again with the yes, no. So even if it's a little higher and you say turnover isn't small, so do you experiment with are new ideas rewarded in your store?
Yes.
Okay. So you got yes. Do you often work under lots of pressure?
No.
Okay. So are the managers tough and demanding? No. Okay. Is personal growth encouraged?
Yeah.
Okay. Does it take a long time for a company to make decisions?
Not exactly.
In the store? Yes
Yeah,
or
in
no?
the
So
store.
you could be in a market culture or a control culture. So I guess what I want to see is I thought this was really interesting because as a restaurant and where we are as managers in a team, of your location with the employees. I think you probably want to be into collaborative or creative. Those are probably some of one of the really high functioning teams. But I think that where we are, sometimes we get focused on numbers, so we could definitely be a market culture. And hopefully we're not in a control culture, because I think that that's where we lose kind of the collaboration and listening to new ideas and kind of moving forward and really promoting people. So hopefully we're staying out of that one, kind of pushing it aside. But that's why I thought this was kind of interesting, just to go down through those yes and no's. And probably at different points of time, it could be different for you and with different managers. If you have new managers coming on, if you have seasoned managers, that can actually affect your culture of your location. But it affects everyone. Culture affects everybody. Okay, so I'm trying to make this a little interactive. So I'm going to go down and take a little poll here. So I'm going to go down your name, and I want you to answer this question. What is the kind of company culture that keeps you motivated to do your professional best? Okay, so these are the options: fast, result-based, competitive, flexible, trust and ownership, dynamic, entrepreneurial, or process-oriented and structured. Ty, you look like you're thinking hard. Tell me which one is good for you personally.
I'd probably say flexible, trust, and ownership.
Okay, thank you. Let's go, Kyle.
Process oriented and structured.
Okay. Mandy, you're up.
I'm gonna say dynamic entrepreneurial.
Okay. How about Ellie?
I'm gonna say flexible, trust, and ownership.
Okay. Bear with me. I'm going through my people. John, how about you?
Fast result based competitive.
Okay. Nikki.
I say flexible, trust, and ownership.
Okay. And how about Gordon?
Like process oriented and structured.
Okay. Terry, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What are you?
Probably flexible, trust, and ownership.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go, Felony.
I think I'm a mix of the flexible, trust and ownership, and the process oriented and structured.
Okay. How about Molly?
I think I'm same boat as Felony. I think they both work really well and they're both important.
Okay. I'm putting half in for you. How's that? Okay, who am I missing? Steven.
I like the flexible trust and ownership one.
Okay, I think Demetrius just jumped on. Demetrius, which one of these are you most like?
I'd say flexible, trust, and ownership.
Okay. I'm hoping I got everyone that's on. Oh, no, my girls. Okay, Allie and Maddie.
We say the flexible trust and ownership too.
Oh, you're both going for the same one? Okay, they got 2 people, 1 vote. And then I have Ashley.
Flexible trust and ownership.
Ooh, okay. This is getting good now. All right, so we have everybody, I think everyone has a vote. So definitely in this poll, flexible trust and ownership won out. I mean, hands above the rest. So why do you think that? Stephen, what is that? What's important about that to you in culture?
I think it means a lot to me that management understands that we're all human beings and that we all want to try our best, but also understand that things arise. So it's nice when they're flexible and can work with you, you know, cover a shift, swap with someone, you know, not judge you when your babysitter calls off, something like that. But, you know, still hold you accountable in that sense, you know, in that part with the ownership, like, you know, you own your mistakes, but they trust you to keep working better and improving yourself. So
Great.
that's what it makes me.
And there's a lot to our business that applies there. So I see why that's big with most of you. That was the fan favorite. Molly, I'm going to ask you if you would kind of share, because you said that you kind of looked at the two different options, but you thought they were both important. So why is the process oriented and structured important for you?
I think because you have to have structure in a business. I mean, without structure, everything falls apart. I mean, it can be chaotic without structure. And I think it goes well with flexible trust and ownership too, because in management, we're humans too. And there are days when you're going to have an off day too. And I know I always tell people, like in my experience throughout my career, when I was pregnant, I mean, I would have to come in all the time because my hormones were out of whack. And I'd be like, I'm so sorry. Like if I yell at you, like it's not you guys, like it's me.
Not my fault.
Yeah, like please don't take this personally. But you know, I think that
Okay.
sometimes that they forget that we're humans too, and we make mistakes in management as well. And it's a learning process for us as well.
Mhm.
So
I just thought it was interesting, how many. I really thought that possibly I'd have like more of a spread just because of the different personalities that we have in the group. And, you know, what things are important, because this question's kind of geared more toward you individually. So what drives you to do your professional best? So it's very interesting how this came out. So I have one more for you that we're going to do. Oh, and as soon as Pam gets back into her presentation, we'll be able to forward. There we go. Okay, so new poll. I'm going to go down again and ask. It's a little easier that way. So when it comes to culture, which factor do you think is most important to you? All right, Molly, you're up.
oh my goodness, they're all really good, and I think they're all really important.
You had to pick one.
Oh gosh.
What would be the most important?
Maybe transparent leadership.
Okay. I think that's a big one for a lot of people, but we'll see. How about Stephen?
I also agree. All four, like they're really important.
You can't pick all four.
But if I have to pick one, I'm gonna go with work-life balance, especially since I drive so far back and forth every day. That cuts into how much time I have at home. That work-life balance is really important to me too. So there you go.
Okay, good. Thank you for choosing one. Ashley, how about you?
Recognition and appreciation.
Okay. All right, where are my girls? Do I have Allie still there? Okay, there we are. What are we choosing?
I would choose recognition and appreciation also.
I like
Okay.
the transparent leadership and the work-life balance because both are really important with a lot of things.
Okay. Cool, thank you. I'm gonna keep going until we get to the end, and then I'll have a couple comments, which, you know, I always do. Sorry for your luck, huh? How about John?
Work-life balance.
Okay, thank you. Nikki, what are you thinking?
Recognition and appreciation.
Okay. Gordon,
Recognition and appreciation.
okay. Hey, Terry, how about you?
I might probably go. I'm in between the transparent leadership and the recognition and appreciation. But I would probably go with the recognition and appreciation.
Okay. Okay. Mandy, how about you?
I think recognition and appreciation.
Okay. Ty?
I'm between transparent leadership and recognition and appreciation, but I'd probably say recognition and appreciation. My
Okay.
first one.
Okay. Let me see who I'm missing here real quick. How about Kyle?
Work-life balance.
Okay. Excellent. Demetrius?
I'm gonna say recognition and appreciation. I feel like that's important.
Okay. And how about Felony?
I'm gonna say it's a mix between the clear vision and core value and the work-life balance.
Okay. And excuse me, Ellie.
I'm gonna say between transparent leadership and work-life balance.
Look at you. I'm letting you all get away with two.
Hmm.
See how flexible I am?
I started a trend.
So hands down on this one was recognition and appreciation. So couple of thoughts on this. So when it comes to overall culture, most of you picked recognition and appreciation as number one. So we had some work-life balance. Work-life balance, the whole terminology is a little difficult for me, only because I feel that that's so broad brushed to what that means to each individual. So Stephen, you were able to share a couple of things, and so I get a clearer picture of why that's important to you, but many of you could have completely different reasons for choosing that. So clear vision and core values was like the least, but that's like a basic foundation of culture. So none of you picked that. And do you think that that's because you?
I did.
Well, okay, half of you, but that wasn't even a clear vote. Is that because you feel like you do have a really good picture of what the vision and the value is of a company, so that's not first and foremost? Or do you think it's just not that important? Who has an opinion on that? Go ahead,
I
Stephen.
do. I think a lot of us can generally appreciate a vision and core values wherever we go. It's not that this is just a job for anyone. We all want to work better and improve ourselves, but as long as it's one of those things where you're not like killing kittens at the end of the day or something, you can get on board with a lot that's fairly easily. So, once you no longer have, any, I think that maybe then would be it's like a default, like you wouldn't even work at a company that didn't have clear vision and core values. Like,
Okay, good.
it's someplace like you wouldn't even really consider it necessarily. You wouldn't be there to be answering these questions. I don't know.
So you're thinking it's more kind of a given that that's kind of why you're there, that and you accept that there is
And
a
then
vision
the
and a
other
value.
stuff kind of is like what you want in return as well. So
Okay.
like, what you
Excellent.
expect out of them more that isn't
Excellent, because
automatically offered.
I think that makes a direct correlation into your employees as well. It's important to them to have that. That's what you have to kind of be putting forth and making sure that you're delivering on, so that you can keep your employees around. Because that's what we want to do. We want to keep some really good employees around. So we have to look at that and how important that is. Okay, so this is just something that I found that I think is very important. I think that we as a company do a pretty good job of this, but this is where we should start to think as managers what we do. The flexibility. I think we're really good as a company with that, with our employees. Hopefully your managers are good with you as well. Giving feedback, that's kind of that transparent leadership. Are they sharing with you a lot? Do you share with your employees? Your managers share with you? Training is huge. We're going to have a focus on that moving forward. people want the investment. They want to better themselves. They want to do better. They want to know what they have to do. Communication is something, boy, we all need to do a lot of all the time. Are we communicating clearly? We always have to think and look at ways that we can be better. Rewards, there's your rewards and recognition. You all were about that. So it goes to show you it made the list. So think about that when you're transferring what's important to you to your employees. Look at what they're asking for and talking about. Then you know what's important to them. Perks, everybody likes a few perks. You know, what do you do special for your employees? What are some of the things that you like to do to have fun in your locations? That's important. And overall wellness. And I think one of the things, and I know Brenda's probably going to talk about this, I know she's really passionate about this, but just the psychological safety side of things today, a lot of people are at different places and they need to have grace. You know, Molly, I think you brought it up too. Hey, I was pregnant. I said, please just kind of give me a break and a little space here because I'm probably in a different place than I normally am. Everybody has that day. I'm having one of those today as well. I've had the day crazy that you can't even imagine, but you know, kind of have to give yourself some grace and give others grace and act with kindness and respect. Okay. And I think those are some of the really basic clear values that we need to keep in mind. So anybody, can you give me a couple of great things that you do to promote positive culture in your store? What do you do with your employees? I'll ask for volunteers before I call on you.
I'll volunteer first.
Okay.
I like to do fun things with our employees. So like Halloween, we did a competition on costumes that made people like actually want to come to work and have a good time with work. And we do different things depending on holidays. We do like an ugly sweater weekend and just little things like that make the front of house servers at least want to show up to work, and happy employees obviously means good service. So we like to do things like that. And also just talking to your staff and just making sure everybody's okay, asking about their personal lives. And that just makes like an overall happier staff.
Really basic, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody wants to have fun. We spend an awful lot of time at work, don't we?
Yeah, it's man.
I'm currently sitting here thinking of things. We have Olympic tryouts in State
Hi.
College next weekend. So we're going to do server Olympics here next weekend while we work.
Ooh, when we opened that store, I never got to do my relay. That was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. I was sad that we didn't get to do that, but you know, those are positive things where you make an environment. And remember, we are in hospitality, so we should be able to do those things, you know, all the time because we have to promote that type of experience for our guests. So when our employees are doing it, then that passes right on to the guest. And that's what's important because, hey, that's what pays our paychecks, right? So we have to be aware of that. So your stores, do they have any areas of improvement? Are you good every day? Kyle, are you good every day? Or can you do other things?
There's always room to improve, always. So
Okay. So you're the kitchen guy.
yeah,
So, you know, we talk a lot about front of the house, and that's kind of why I picked on you. So thank you for bearing with me. But I think the back of the house sometimes is more of a challenge to just kind of engage and do things with. Is there anything you do with your team that you think is kind of cool?
we actually have a fantasy football league that we do. And then we just recently bought a little miniature little basketball hoop that, you know, when we're slow, you know, just go over, you know, it's a little plastic ball, just you know, something that makes it fun to where, you know, you can get out of your area for a second and just talk to, you know, whoever's over on salad bar for a moment and go
I'm
back.
telling Andy, I'm gonna say our mini hoop's better.
Yeah, probably. We got ours from Dollar.
That's fun. And it's stressful back there. It can be
Yeah.
stressful depending upon your volume or what's happening for the day or who you have on the line, or if you're the only one on the line, you might just want to shoot some hoops to get rid of that stress. But that's a great idea. So those are little things where you can improve in your store's locations, and you can get ideas from people. That's kind of what this Campbell U Group's about too, is you guys all kind of being somewhere in the same area of your career and being able to share things and get some new ideas. So we like to see and hear that. So do you have any toxic people in your stores? Toxic employees? Well, you're giving me a great big grin. Nikki, you're smiling. Anybody have things to share?
We just got rid of two, honestly. And they
Okay.
actually they called the health inspector and, had to deal with that.
So what did they do? What made them toxic?
They would show up whenever they wanted to. Not call and give any kind of advance warning, like, hey, we're running late. Just, at 6 o'clock when they were scheduled at 5 o'clock. Oh, hey, we're just now leaving Pittsburgh. We'll be there when we can. That doesn't look good to the other employees. Like, hey, that means we can get away with that too. No, you can't. So after a while of them continuing to do that, you got to let them go. Because you just can't allow people to just show up whenever they want to.
Correct. And, and it's good that you took care of the situation and didn't let that go on. Because if you have that situation and you would let it go on, what's going to happen, Kyle?
They're just going to continue to do it, take advantage of you, and it's just going to get worse. Everyone else is going to see that they're doing it, so then it's acceptable. So then everyone's going to do it.
What's it going to do to your good employees?
It's going to make them not want to work with those people. It's going to make them not want to work, period, because who wants to work with those people that don't show up on their scheduled times?
And why is it okay for, Brenda to not come to work when I have to come to work? That's not fair. I'm just using an example. I'm using my friend Bren because we're on here together. So, exactly. So there's a lot of, I'm going to quickly kind of go through some of these, but we talk types of toxic people, and I'm going to run through what they are, and we're going to look at the blaming. So they're always like, it's not my fault. They can be disrespectful. They're a bully. So what do you do with, do you have some bullies in the store? What do you do with them? Gordon, you ever had a bully?
Not so much. Not that I
No?
would ever put up with. No, not anything.
There you go. But maybe that's the answer. Not that I would ever put up with.
Maybe I was the bully and nobody was ever over top of me. I don't know.
And
No,
maybe
that's
it's
not
not
right.
that. Maybe you set the right expectation so they understood that that was not an acceptable form, behavior for the store. So a lot of times that's where it comes. Or did you ever get somebody who it's not my fault, it's never their fault, they pass the buck to everyone, there's no accountability?
Yeah, we do have that. We did have that.
Yeah.
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 He's gone now, so
Oh, see?
that's yeah.
Did it weed itself out, or did you have to do it?
He kind of weeded himself out.
Yeah.
Just thought that he was above everybody else and he did everything, and then it got to the point where he said he needed help and he couldn't get help, and it was just a long story for him, but he was one of those toxic people that is better without him than with him, so
Took care of itself.
better for the store. Yes.
Great. That's absolutely it. So, the antidotes come up, but they're all basically the same. You have to communicate in the correct way with them. You've got to give the feedback. You've got to redirect behavior. Sometimes it comes down to having to discipline. Sometimes they weed themselves out and they just leave on their own accord. Sometimes you hope that happens. The difficult situations are hard to have. So in stonewalling, you talk about disengaged employees. So they could be passive aggressive. Big thing is going around the chain of command. If you have issues, if your employees have issues, they should understand that they need to go to their supervisor. They need to make them aware of things or how they're feeling. They need to be able to have a discussion and conversation around it. Okay, so it can be signs of withdrawal or avoidance as well. And again, the antidotes are basically the same. You have to kind of focus the feedback, the communication and the discipline, take the steps that you need to. Sounds like some of you have done that and have done very well because you've gotten rid of those toxic employees. The contemptuous, the rudeness, the sarcasm, and the eye rolling. You know, we have to understand that we work in the public, and especially front of the house, it's difficult. Internal and external guests, they both should get the same level of respect. So these are going to be certain things that are going to not work in the workplace. So we have to nip those in the bud. Defensiveness, I think, again, I'm the victim all the time is the big one here. You know, you have to take responsibility for yourself. If you're going to move forward and grow, you can't be the victim all the time. No one else wants to work with you, right? So, how do those toxic people affect you or affect your employees? Terry?
Oh, how do toxic people affect me?
Or your employees, if you have one in the group, what do they do?
I just had one the other day that was very unsubordinate to me as a manager. I kind of like walked away from it. And then I had a one-on-one conversation with her and kind of gave her like a verbal warning and left her know that next time it's going to be a written warning and it will go before, you know, the general manager. So she kind of understood a little bit. She kind of like felt really bad and wanted to be like my friend there after a while. So, you know, you have to set your friendship away from everybody because you are a manager. So I told her, I said, I appreciate you, you know, talking to me and, you know, having a calm conversation here, you know, instead of the other day. So I was just about ready to send her home the other day.
Well, sometimes we have to pull ourselves into, don't we, Terry? Sometimes it gets emotional. So you have to think about your position and how to take care of it effectively within
exactly. You know, we have to be the professionals, but let them kind of be the toxic person. You know, we have to deal with that in a professional way. You know,
and you
we
have to
can't
recognize that for your other employees, right?
exactly.
Yes. Awesome. So enough of the negativity. Let's talk about the positive a little bit. So what are some of the traits that you like to see with the people? What do you see and observe about the traits of those people you work with that you love when your crew comes in? Nikki, when you have a good crew on, what are some of those things that you see in your people that you love and enjoy?
Them smiling, coming in with a smile on their face.
Small thing. What else?
Their inspiration.
Okay. Do they kind of joke around and talk a little bit, and they're kind of like on that fun side? They're getting things done, but they're fun.
Yes.
I think that puts us all at ease, and that makes that time that we're together so much more enjoyable and quick. Doesn't your day go faster when you have a good crew on?
Yes.
And you need to be the manager that they're looking for too. Not, you know, it has to go both ways. I always tell my new managers that. I'm like, hey, are you the manager they like to see, or are you the manager they're saying, oh, when is my shift over and when can I go home? Because that's not what you want to be. Great culture means they want to be there with you and they'll help you out and they'll be loyal to you. So this is just a rundown of things that we've been talking about, but you know, that cultural piece is where they can express their opinions, they're heard, they like to be heard, they like to try their ideas, they like to not be micromanaged. We spend a lot of time together, they have some friends. Trust is a huge part of culture. And I think that's one of the hardest things to get from people is trust and maintain it. Because, you know, they're looking at you, watching you all the time as a manager. And so you kind of have to be on your guard and you kind of have to watch what's going on all the time. They want the sense of team and they want to feel comfortable if they need the help, that someone's going to be there in that team to help them out. So, I think we kind of talked about that with Nikki. Thank you. You kind of said how it works together, having a good team. What would your ideal culture be in your store? Madison and Allie, what do you think? What would it be for you? What would it look like?
I think the ideal like store culture would be people that can come in and joke around and maybe mess around if they have time, but also do their jobs while they're doing that, so that everyone's happy, everyone's having a good time, but everything's still getting done.
Yeah, that's really the core concept of a leader, is getting people to do their jobs and enjoy doing it. Like that's when you know that you've kind of arrived and you got it going on. You kind of figured them out as employees. And that is very, very important. Thank you. Okay, positive culture. These are the things we talked about, so I'm just going to reinforce them. Respect and fairness. You know, we talk about it, diversity, but I think that respect and fairness is one of the things that you have to be kind. Good teamwork. We want engaged employees. Be a servant leader. You know, if you're not, that means that you're involved in community, you're involved with your employees, that you're kind of selfless and putting everyone before yourself. So, and these are just things to keep in mind as a company, as a manager. People want professional development. Talk to your employees about it. Define your core values. When you're hiring now, look for the culture fit for your location, not just about whether they can come to work or when their open hours are. We can get hopefully some better people that way. We can teach them tasks, but trying to get them a fit into the culture is huge. Communication is good and a positive work environment. Very, very good. Brenda, I'm going to hand some of this over to you. She's really going to talk about more of the fun stuff.
Yeah, because recently I just put a committee together, and as Pam had stated before, this is something that I'm very passionate about. I've been with the company for over 34 years, so I've seen a lot of different things come and go. But you know, you're still your core values, and what our culture is you know, we're still very family oriented. But this saying is, be the change you wish to see in the world. So as managers of our company and the employees that work with you, you know, you want to make sure that you are establishing what your culture, what type of culture you want in your store. I always think about when people are applying to your restaurant, what is it something that would attract them to us? You know, would the employees feel that they're valued and respected, informed, and would they know the expectations? Do we have a strong culture that motivates employees to do their best? In here at the office, I've probably told you guys before, like I'm a very people person and I feed off people and I like to be positive and I do like to have fun. And my role in here is I'm in charge of what's called the fun committee. So, you know, we try to think of different things, you know, because, you know, sitting at a desk all day, sometimes doing data entry, you know, especially in HR, you deal with all facets of different, you know, situations. And it can get demotivating sometimes. So I try to bring some things that we can do that are fun and, you know, make sure that people remain positive. And, you know, the thing that you have that doesn't cost anything is that smile. You know, just always remember that you have that smile and, you know, that makes people feel good. And, you know, just, you know, the persona that you put off yourself as always being positive and helpful and supportive and caring. You know, we are hospitality, as Pam said. So a lot of our culture should be regarding our employees and our guests. And it works, you know, both ways, you know, and you know, just to think about it and, you know, just to think about what people would think about or what you know, when they think of Hosses and Marzonis, what are people saying? Are we known? You know, is there a strong company culture? You know, we talk a lot about employee engagement. We're trying to figure out ways to decrease the turnover. You know, we want to have that strong brand identity that we're known out in the public and out in the community. You know, and then again, when people enjoy what they're doing, enjoy who they're working with, have that positive work environment, you know, it's going to, of course, elevate productivity. So just remember, like, what do you, when you get up in the morning, what would you like to see when you go to work? If it's not a positive work environment, are you going to want to come to work? If it's, you know, people don't get along and there's always doom and gloom and negativity, how are you going to keep people there and want to work and be productive? You know, as Pam had stated before, you know, kindness it's not hard to do and to allow these employees to enjoy what they do. But again, you have to have the communication. You have to let them know what's expected of them, but you know, they still can enjoy, and it can be an enjoyable work environment where people, you know, come together and we're all working towards that same goal. So, I mean, when you think about it, just sit back and think, what, you know, would people want to come and work for our company, and what would be the things that would stand out? You know, can you think of some things that, yeah, my restaurant does that and I think people would enjoy it? Yeah, we are out in the community, you know, things like that. Does anybody have anything that they can think of that they do to keep the employees engaged and you know, the productivity and stuff? Is there ideas that you've, because, you know, we're struggling with engagement. You know, is there anything that you've been doing? Like, is your store a high turnover or doesn't it have much turnover? Anybody can volunteer if they like. What about you, Mandy? I know it's just a new, you know, restaurant, Marzoni's, you know, you're fairly new. What do people think in State College? You know, what's, you know, do they have that person?
We've been really lucky because all the staff that we've started with is pretty much all still here. Our engagement, like I said earlier, just about making work fun for people.
Yeah.
Just by doing little things. We show a lot of staff appreciation here,
Right.
which we've gotten a lot of feedback on, that people enjoy that they're appreciated here. So I mean, we focus on keeping tabs with our staff, checking in on them, making things fun. Like I said, like we did a Halloween contest, we did Christmas stuff. We're doing another competition next week. So just doing little things that
Right.
gives them something to work for and work towards has really been a key part for us. And we make sure that we do it not just front of house, like we do things with the back of house, the front of house, pizza, dish, like we recognize all areas, and that appreciation goes a long way when it comes to our staff.
And I think that's the big thing too, is you don't segment the different departments. You're all
Right.
together, working together, and everybody has an important process or an important, you know, all their job duties and tasks are important. And then recognizing that, you know, it does make people feel good when they are recognized or when they're able to have fun. You know, as long as you're getting the job done and you're meeting the goals. I know right now, like, we have something that's going on here at the office where we had employees bring in baby pictures and put it on the board, and then you all have to guess who these are. And it's just been so neat to see when people go out to the lunchroom and they see this board, like they're interacting and they're having fun, and you know, it's
Honestly, you
just
can't
something.
pass by it. You have to
Yes.
stop.
Right. And it's just like, we're like, oh gosh, who is that? And, you know, we're just, and we're talking amongst each other. And as Pam said, you know, every time you go out there, you got to stop because you're like, do I know who that is? So, and what we are doing is we're rewarding, like they're numbered like 1 to, I think we had 23 people participate. So, you know, anybody can guess, and then whoever has the most right, then they're going to get like a gift card or a prize. And then we do have cleaning it doesn't sound like fun, but we're doing a spring cleaning next week where we're going to get lunch from somewhere else that, because we always eat Haas's and Marzoni's, but every once in a while we bring something else in, so I think we're just going to have subs and, like a deli type food. And then we're going to do a couple games after we're done cleaning, of course. But, we try to do things that are fun too. And we try to get each department that we're all together because we don't always get to interact with each of the departments. So, it's just all about camaraderie and making the work environment, a fun place. And I think Pam had stated too, you are at work a lot. Like, you're with these people more sometimes than you are your family. And if it's a miserable environment and you're miserable, it's not going to work. And those people aren't going to stay, or they're going to bring your people down too. So, I know you can't always be upbeat and happy, but, you just got to work towards it. And, I think in the long run, having a great culture and, just caring. So a little bit about the company culture, employees that trust the leaders. Again, like you're the leaders in the store, and, if they feel that they can trust you and, they can confide in you, that means a lot too. Employees have pride in their work that they do. When somebody gets something done and, they feel very good about getting that job done, and we commend them on that, that's a great feeling that they feel. And again, enjoy the work environment and your coworkers. I can't stress enough. You got to enjoy it, or you're not going to want to do it, or the people aren't going to want to stay. So hard work and enjoy. And then, you got that work-life balance too. So you got a life too, but, while you're at work, you got to make sure that you take pride and you enjoy where you're at. I mean, that means a lot. Any questions on that? No. So I keep asking this, why would applicants choose our organization? Is our company culture known? And I know, we've all been through that, we don't want to talk about it, that happened 4 years ago, the pandemic, and, we had to reconfigure and think of different ways of how to do things. But now, we're back and we're trying to be better and we're trying to be stronger. So your mission and your vision and your values, what are they? What is the mission? What is the vision? And what's the value? And I know that the committee that I'm on, we know that we want to redesign our culture with some different vision and values and missions that we can incorporate Marzoni's and Haas's together. Because we're all out there in the restaurant business and trying to, think of what. So if you go to the next slide, Pam. So of course, with regard to being in the restaurant, our culture. And so, we want to make sure that it's always an excellent atmosphere for the employees and for the guests. We want quality food, guest satisfaction. Of course, we want to be that restaurant of choice. And how do we work on being that restaurant of choice? We know there's a lot of competition out there, but we want to be that one that everybody comes and dines for us. The community, are we known? What is our reputation in the areas that, our locations are? Are we reputable? How do people know, and what do they know about us? And is there things that we need to work on or improve on? And that's one of the things with regard to the committee that I'm on. I have various different general managers that are on that. And I know sometimes like the locations that some of the restaurants are at, it's hard, to get that out there of what our reputation is and be community involved. But these are some of the things that we should focus on and we should work towards and keep on top of. Next one, Pam. So our core values, and like I've said, I've been here for a long time and I've seen a lot of things in the 34 years. And I know that the thing that Bill Campbell always stressed was the golden rule. You want to work by the golden rule. You want to treat others, guests, and coworkers as you would like to be treated. And he's always stood by that. And that's always been his number one rule. And then you want to be committed So you're going to be committed to always strive to exceed our standards and never give up. There's going to be competition out there that, you know, you're going to keep having to work, you know, to be that the best one out there. And then again, we always have to be consistent. You know, we have to be fair, firm, and consistent in all our dealings with all the guests and coworkers. And then you got to lead by the 3 C's, which I have them. I always have to remember here. Because the 3 C's aren't always what I think. So it's competent, committed, and you have to have a great character. Those are the 3 C's that lead by example. And you want to be sure that you're including and being accepting and respectable at all times. So as I said, you know, these are some of the core values and beliefs that I'd like to incorporate into our culture that we're working towards. Next, Pam, I think that's it. So as closing here, you know, it's a lot of information. You know, culture is a lot of different things. And what would you like to have your restaurant be known for? And what is your culture? And how are you going to incorporate that in your work environment? And I'll just give it back to Pam if you have anything else.
I think overall, really bringing it together. I mean, nothing kind of wraps it up. Bill Campbell, the owner of our company, the founder of our company, was one of the biggest servant leaders that I've known in my lifetime. And I think that just going back, Brenda, to what you said about the golden rule, that's something that he really believed in from day one. And you and I have been around long enough to kind of have that embedded in us. But as new leaders of our company, I think it's just a very simple concept to keep in mind all the time. I think that's, you know how you would want to be treated. And, you know, keep that in mind when you're dealing with your employees as well. Have a little fun out there. You know, it's really hard because you guys are tasked with so many things, and it is so easily to have that stress in your life, and it's tough. It is tough what you're doing, but you're appreciated in many, many ways, and we thank you. Every day we're your support staff. So, you know, if you need anything, that's what we're here for. So don't ever hesitate to call us for anything that you need help with.
And I just leave you with one quote. If you can't find the sunshine, be the sunshine.
All right, guys, I think we're about up to. We're not going to keep you for the day. I appreciate your time very much. Have a great one. Thank you, Brenda.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. Have a great
Take care,
afternoon.
guys.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.